Binary Nexus. He who is brave in daring will be killed. He who is brave in not daring will survive. Dao Di Ching. In a lifetime and in the course of a day, we often find ourselves at a binary nexus, a choice between 0 and 1, between yes and no. This card indicates such a nexus and reminds us that sometimes no is the more powerful decision that saves our power from premature or otherwise wasteful expenditure. So this is very important because in our ever busier world, now this is before AI replaces everybody's jobs, and who knows what will happen after that, but this is in 2024. But if you follow time management principles, the reward for being able to juggle many balls will be to be given still more balls. So sometimes saying no to something is a very effective and life affirming choice. If you're already stressed out with too many things to do, before you agree to taking on any other new task, ask yourself, what will I stop doing in order to do this new thing? So it's important because we have kind of a bias toward like, oh, I don't want to. It's a little bit like FOMO, a fear of missing out, of just, oh yeah, I'll do it, sure. And we don't think about the totality of all the other things that we've agreed to do, and the impact on our total being of trying to do too much. So very important to say no to many choices, even if there are good things about them and good possibilities, because you only have so many hours in the day. So saying yes to something means saying no to other things, and you might as well confront that from the beginning. That was just me off the cuffing there about how this relates to time management. I recommend the Stephen Reichstoffen book, Time Shifting, which repairs the anti-feminine aspect of time management. As Goethe said, a master first reveals himself by his ability to hold back. Similarly, a Zen archer hits the mark because she holds the arrow back until just the right moment. In other cases, the powerful choice is yes, one, on, go. From the I Ching point of view, the time to go forward with any major choice is when a deep inner knowing tells you it is time. The self, in the Jungian sense, meaning the totality of all psychic structures, and global intuition, which we presume would emanate from the self, are best qualified to make such choices. The mind and ego can be involved, but should not be the rulers of the process because it is above their level of competence. When the mind-ego alliance is in charge of decisions, you tend to get that inner ping-pong game sort of dialogue going in your head. But what about this? But what about that? But what if this happens? What if that happens? Etc. In the hierarchy of psychic structures, the self is the ruler, and the mind and the ego are like the ministers, the cabinet members or facilitators. Once you've made the big decision, mind and ego are crucial to work on implementation. So the way you recommended throughout this oracle, access the self to make a big decision is to ask yourself the question, will I remember this well on my deathbed? An intelligent mind-ego alliance will pass that up to the self because they know that's above their pay grade. A classic illustration of these principles involves romantic relationships. A mind and ego-dominated person tells himself, well, I have to be going out with someone. What about this person? What about that person? A merchant mind kicks in, like someone anxiously scanning personal ads or evaluating merchandise. Well, this one likes candlelit dinners, but this one is taller, but this one seems more reliable, but this one... From my point of view, the default position for the conscious person is solitude, often the most powerful place to be, but with a willingness and an enthusiasm to come forward into relationship, but knowing that you will have to give it an incredible amount of energy and attention if it's going to be a major relationship. And so you don't do that until you're called to from the depths of your being. You wait for the soulmates and spiritual allies and recognize that all relationships have problematic phases and take a lot of care and resources. You don't go forward into a random relationship out of the lonely restlessness of the social ego, which is addicted to social matrix noise and anxious to fill space with some kind of a body, chatter, or whatever. By endlessly distracting yourself with superficial relationships, you may miss out on the soulful ones. It is the same with career choices, major relocations, and big plans. The ego loves decisive action, hates to wait in ambiguity and ambivalence, and wants some sweeping change that will supposedly resolve everything. Whereas modern Taoist sage Ding Ming Dao says something that's some of the wisest words I've ever heard in my whole life. Never underestimate the value of a partial solution, because that's often all we get. But the ego doesn't like ambiguity and ambivalence, it wants total solutions. One of the greatest assets of a mature person is the ability to be at rest with ambiguity and ambivalence. A little mind can't stay open to uncertainty and reaches for premature closure, becoming a true believer in something, a religion, or a secular fundamentalism. Be tolerant of ambiguity, ambivalence, and uncertainty. These are our constant and familiar life companions that help us learn, offering us a world more complex and mysterious than a checkerboard. Wait until you really know, then throw that binary switch of yes or no and don't look back.